Hi everybody, I just wanted to come on here for a minute and kind of talk you through some of the modified movement that we did last week, really the more heavily modified movements. Um, I recognize that is easy to mimic what I'm doing without getting the maximum benefit, and ultimately I really want you to be able to get the maximum benefit from these modifications. So I hope you find this valuable, and I hope that this helps you in the future, like as we move forward with this. So I am super happy to be here. I'm super happy to be able to share the things that I have learned from my body with you. And I also recognize that we're all unique bodies, right? And none of us are created equal. So if what I'm doing here doesn't necessarily work for you, or you might need a little bit of tweaking here and there, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to help you work through it. My yoga teacher calls it throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I love that phrase because that really is what I've had to do for my body most of my life, is just throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, what works and what doesn't. And really, don't we all kind of do that? So let's start with the seated plank. When we think about the traditional plank, we think of this beautiful long line, right, from your head to your toes. And yes, you can do a modified plank on a wall. You can do a modified plank with your hands in the seat of a chair. You can even lower your knees to do a plank. But honestly, none of those modifications really worked for my body. So I really started to pick apart the traditional plank. And I mean, my years of anatomy and physiology training and yoga teacher training kind of kicked in here. Like, with what is the intention of the pose? What is the intention of this exercise? What are the muscle groups that are being fired here? Like, what are the muscle groups being activated? So I started picking apart, and this is what I came up with. And honestly, I'm very honored that several of my yoga teacher friends have actually incorporated this into their classes to teach people in all bodies. I have a couple of physical therapy friends and occupational therapy friends that use this also with their clients. And I just think it's beautiful because all bodies are good and we were all made to move, right? And so I'm grateful that this is an option for people. I really am. That said, what I'm going to show you now is like the top 3 things for every seated exercise that we do. Okay, top 3 things for every one of them that we do, and then we're going to go into the seated plank. So traditional plank, long line, right? But when you think of the muscle groups fired, you think of legs, you think of core, you think of arms and shoulders. And so what we're going to do now is my legs are going to be hip width apart because that's how I like them. You can choose to bring yours together if you want to. Play around with it, see what works. Mine are going to be hip width apart. So I'm sitting on the edge of my chair, and I want you to ground down through your sitting bones and through what I call the tripod on your feet. So that tripod is, and I have to make sure my feet are in a proper alignment, and they are. Okay, so the tripod, I call it, is this knuckle that's just below your big toe, your pinky toe, and your heel. And if you raise your toes up, you can feel those places in your feet. Okay, so that's where you're going to ground down through. You're going to ground down through your sitting bones and your feet. And when you do that, you should feel a little bit of lift in your spine. Okay, so we're going to lengthen through your spine. And in this moment, I actually kind of like to envision God pulling this little piece of my hair right here, saying, "Come on, you can do this. Come on." And it lifts me up just a little bit more. So from here, we're going to zip up our bellies, and I like to imagine that is like you're putting on a pair of pants that's just a little bit too tight, and you're going to pull in and up. Okay, and that's activated your whole core right through here. okay? And so here we are grounding, we are lifted, we have our spine long, okay, just like in a traditional plank. Now we're going to tuck our tailbone slightly, and we're going to engage our legs. So we're going to come up on our toes, okay? And I don't know about you, but right now I feel really off balance up here, so I'm going to press into my thighs. I'm going to engage my arms, press into my thighs with only my palms, not my fingertips or thumb. No fingertips or thumb, only your palms. Press into your thighs. Press, 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 press. And you should feel your shoulders and your arms engage. And you're going to hold that. And we can incorporate the little rainbow movement that Elisa did last week. Okay, moving side to side. We can even do leg raises. Keep pressing through your thighs and come back down. Okay, that is super challenging, especially if it's something that you just want to try to hold. But the whole time you're maintaining this proper alignment and positioning, right? So it's not as easy as it looks. It is actually pretty complicated, but it is actually really beneficial, and it engages every muscle that the traditional plank engages. So I hope you find that beneficial. Let's talk push-ups for a minute. So for push-ups, I like to spread my legs a little bit wider. This is about as wide as my legs can go right now. So you're gonna ground down, lift up, zip up, and you're gonna press down. And when you press down, I want you to imagine that you are pressing something into the floor with your chest, okay? And so we're going to come down, press, 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 and come back up. And imagine that you've got some resistance on your back preventing you from coming back up. So you're going to press, 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 press down, and then you're going to press, 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 press up. Press down, press up, press down, press up. Okay? And that is your push-ups, and you should feel that all in your shoulders and all in your arms. Let's see. Let's talk. I'm trying to think what else there was. Let's talk squats for a minute, because I know that squats were maybe kind of a challenge for somebody, but seated squats, I know that kind of is an odd thing to think about, right? But if you think about it, we're really just changing the position of the posture, right? So in a traditional squat, you're kind of here with your legs here, whatnot, but we're just kind of rotating that position. So the key is the air in front of your feet is your floor, right? And you need to envision that is the floor, and you're pressing into it, and it is pressing back against you, okay? You're pressing into it, and it is pressing back against you. So, all right, we're gonna come up a little. First of all, before you do anything, before you get into position, I want you to kind of play around with your chair. Feel what feels like, find what feels good to you as far as where to hold the back of your chair, whether it's like the back of your chair, the side of your chair. You can hold the seat here, you can hold here. Just kind of play around with that and see what feels good to you, okay? Now we're going to come up here, and we're going to get back into position. So ground down, lift up, zip up, and here we go. We're going to come into our squat position. Okay, so we're here, and we're in the down position. So we're going to go down, up, in, out, down, up, in, out. See what I'm talking about? Down, if that was the ground, up, down, up. So we're in, out, in, out, in, out. And then you can add in things like down, up, down, up, down, up. And if you notice, hopefully you can tell by the chair, on that last part, I wasn't resting my back up against the back of the chair. I was literally using my core and my hips to keep me stabilized in that position so that I could use my arms and my legs simultaneously. You can add on a whole lot of things from there. You can simply stick with squats. Any of these exercises that I'm showing you, you can keep them as they are. You can add on, take away from. You can play around with them and see what works for your body. Hamstring stretches. That's one thing I want to talk to you about too. So with a hamstring stretch, you're going to keep one leg bent and the other leg straight. And the straight leg, you're going to point your toes to the ceiling, okay? And you're going to, again, we are grounded down, lifted up, and zipped up, okay? So we're going to hinge forward at the hips and stretch. And hinge forward at the hips and stretch. But what I want you to pay attention to when you're here and you feel that stretch is play around with the position of your toes. Point your toes, raise your toes, and see where the difference is for you. Because you're going to feel a different sensation in different parts of your leg based on where your toes are pointed. And I want you to play around with that and see how that works for you, how it helps you, if it helps you. I'm going to do the other leg while I'm at it, just so it's even. So again, grounded down, lifted up, zipped up, stretch. Point toes up, the whole 9 yards. Stretch. And there we go. All of these can be done once you've practiced like how to get into the shape. Once you've practiced all that, all of these can be done fast, but they don't have to be. We in our movement on Mondays, you can move as fast or as slow as you need to. Trust me. So I just really, more than anything, want you to get the maximum benefit from these modifications. And so if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I hope this was helpful to you. And I look forward to seeing you Monday. Have a great night, friends.